for joining us here on the Voice of Job Seekers. This is your host, Mark, and this is the first episode of 2026. I've been doing this since 2013, September 2013. So we're going on 13 years of this podcast. It's probably one of the longer running career podcasts around. Shout out to Jeff Altman, who has been doing this longer, I think, than I have. I think he's done it a couple more times. So if you want to look up Jeff Altman and his podcasts, feel free to do a friend of mine. We've been following each other's stuff. He's been here on a podcast. I've been on his, and he's also has been kind enough to share a lot of what's been going on with the job scam report. It's the other podcasts and platforms that I have. If you want to be safer in your job search, put up the right safeguards and stay safe for the duration of your job search, that is where I would want you to go. The job report is on Substack. You could probably just find it anywhere since we've been fortunate to have some nice media placements there, as well as we've had here. But lately, been concentrating a lot on that, trying to find some time to dig into the voice of job seekers, as I have some things to share. But this week, I'm going to try to make it simple. There's all these years I've been having content that promote you researching companies, preferably while you have a job. It is much easier to find jobs these days, as it was in 2013, when you have a job. And it is a challenge when you are laid off because you're dealing with emotions. You may be dealing with family, friends, roommates, situations, wondering about your financial standing. And then also your mental health is being affected as well. Your focus is being affected, but probably more so your pockets being affected too. And the uncertainty can drag you much less trying to find something new. So I want to push one reason for you to research companies starting now. Even if you're not looking for a job, as you have seen in the news, that people have lost jobs very quickly. It doesn't take long to find out that there's rumors, and those rumors have become announcements, and the announcements eventually manifest layoffs. And that's not always a good thing. And really, there's not anything that 100% takes away the anxiety of a layoff. There isn't. Unless you have made up in your mind that, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur when I leave this job, no matter how I leave it. Or maybe you've said, I'm tired of this job. Maybe they'll lay me off. It'll make it a little bit easier. Some people are able to get severances. A lot of people are not. So don't think that's going to be a thing in the future. I think will subside. So let's talk about the one reason for a moment. And I want to give an analogy, make it real simple, and it's layered. So bear with me in telling you a story about my wife and I. We have always liked shrimp. And there are times when we want something really quick. We know the restaurants we know that are close by. But sometimes we have a taste for something a little bit more than just shrimp. So we'll research a restaurant that we like, and we have several that we want. But we think about the cost of going there, and we really want to spend that time going as far as it is to get the best. Now, we have to think about the gas component and the time component and maybe several other things. But we do look at something sometimes, what's the best and closest. Or sometimes we want this particular taste. We want this type of ambiance, to maybe even every once in a while to be with these type of friends. So we'll be able to go that particular area so we can have everything that we want. But there are times when we're looking for something a little bit new, a little bit different. So we are going to research some places. We're going to look at Yelp. We're going to look at our socials. We're going to ask some friends. We're going to do all those things to get what we want and the thing that we know that we're going to be satisfied with, even considering the distance and places that we need to go, right? That takes some time. We often will start in the morning, and then maybe by the afternoon, we'll have figured it out. Sometimes we don't. We say, we really don't want to go that far. Okay. Then we'll just go out spots that we know where we'll get some satisfaction. But the way that's related to the job search is this simple. If there are certain types of jobs you're going to want, you're going to have to research to find them. They're not going to just appear. And a recruiter is just not going to come out of nowhere to grab you. Now, for some of you, you're professionals, you're seasoned professionals, you're experienced. You are already in the industry. You know a lot of people in that industry. And you don't have to pick up the phone to apply to a whole bunch of jobs, not to 100, 200 jobs. You're going to be a lot more targeted because you have friends who've been talking about his job. You're going to inquire, or these group of friends. Or you may even rely on that industry organization or two or three that you belong to and start to talk to those people. And you may have even had somebody say, hey, when you're looking for another job, you should come to mine. I've been there X amount of time. Love it here. You love the culture. You love pay. It's everything that you're going to want. That's great. But what if they're not hiring at that time? Do you have someone else? Moving parts to a job search to where nothing is going to be linear and things are easy to do, even if you know a lot of people. But if you're involved in a community of people, it makes it a whole lot easier, especially if you've been doing it for a while. They know you. They even know your work from projects that you worked on through the organization. Maybe you wrote an article for the organization website, or maybe you served on a committee, or maybe you raised your hand in other situations where presentations were involved and you played a part of that presentation. Then you are known by multiple people. That really works out really well because you get to hear firsthand, okay, and you've had those kind of discussions where they're looking out for you if something should happen. But all that to say is, just like my wife and I are looking for shrimp, you're going to have to look for a job by doing the research. You got to consider how far you want to go, where you want to go, where will you get satisfaction. Or maybe you're just looking for a job that pays the bills. And that's fine. Nobody says you can't look for that job. But if you're used to being laid off several times, you might be experiencing some of that layoff fatigue. And it's pretty real because you're tired of being laid off. So you might already have some feelings about even looking at another job again or another job in that industry. You may want to go to another industry. If you're doing it in the middle of a job search and you've been unemployed, that's going to look a whole lot different. That's like looking for the restaurant in another location in a far destination. You've got to decide if it's going to be worth your time doing that. Or maybe you need to get the job now first and then continue to look for that job. Now, we talked about these strategies before. If you go back into the archives, there's between the podcasts and the articles and the videos on all the channels that I have, there are thousands, including my LinkedIn posts and all of those things. And there's not one time where I say you should give up. Not once. Only time you should give up if you have decided that you're going to be unemployed or that you're going to be an entrepreneur or that there are other choices too. We won't go into that right now, but you know that it is critical for you to have made jobs a lifestyle, something that you do all of the time, that you're thinking about at least in some kind of passive way. Either you're growing a new skill, You're meeting new people. You're getting involved in different industries and organizations, associations that can help you build those skills and expand those skills. But if you're doing it again when you're unemployed, it's so much harder because you got to take two steps. If you're not already succeeding in getting interviews, then you should be able to continue to get some momentum out of it. But if you haven't been getting interviews and your resume isn't really getting looked at or nobody asked for it, or a recruiter doesn't approach you on LinkedIn, or you're not getting any kind of activity, then you're going to have to start doing some things that are different. And one of the things I'm going to recommend you doing is start looking at the companies that are going to help you with the skill. Let me back up. That you can get new skills so that you can go to a company that can use your skills, expand those skills, and continue to look for other ways and other jobs that could give you that satisfaction. Like I said, my wife and I don't travel a distance unless we feel like there's going to be satisfaction for the taste that we get. And it's the same way with job search. So what's hard about a job search and researching that? It does take time. If you're in the middle of it, if it's not part of your day, if it's not part of a routine, if it's not part of a conscious effort to find companies that are going to help you grow your career. And sometimes it just may be just easier to find that job for right now to pay bills. If it doesn't pay all of the bills, at least it'll pay some of the bills. And that's for a whole discussion on how to accomplish that. But nobody says those kind of things are easy. So, having said all that, if there's one reason for you to research companies, it's to find career fulfillment. And that may take several stops. And you know what? That's okay. That doesn't mean you had an unsuccessful job search. Most people want to be able to job search. That's it. I can disengage and I can concentrate on life. The ones that continue to get jobs seamlessly with seamlessly a lot of effort, they put all the effort in before they lose that job. They get to know the people and the network and the jobs that they want to target the next time they lose a job. They are already involved in the industry organizations. They're on the committees. They've done the presentations. They've gone to the conferences, even if it's just the local conferences. They've already done that work. I had a friend of mine who just recently got a great upgrade to a job, and that's after it, and he did the work while he was employed, which is the best situation because there's still employment bias out there. It is still people who are judging others, stating how they don't want to hire somebody who doesn't have a job because it appears desperate to them. And that's a shame. It shouldn't be that way in 2026, but it was the same challenge in 2013 when I first started this podcast. Again, make it a lifestyle. Do all the right things that we've already talked about. And just, I know where to get the satisfying shrimp and I can get it anytime, but is it worth me going as far as I do to get it? And sometimes it isn't. Yeah. Those are the kinds of decisions you'll have to make. But if there's one reason, is that you'll have more options when you are unemployed or when you're facing unemployment and you know it's that time when layoffs are about to happen, you have some comfort in that you've already started the work. And even if you hear the announcements, starting then sometimes could be too late. And they're announcing only because legally they're supposed to. But at the same time, it's better for you to have that peace of mind, even though there'll be some emotional things that you'll go through during in anticipation and then being laid off. You'll at least have that head start, knowing that you've already have some things that you want to do. You've already started the process. You've always talked to the people. But again, that one reason for you to research is so that ultimately you'll be better prepared. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at mark@thevoiceofjobseekers.com, or you can call me at 708-365-9822. Just leave a message. Tell me that you heard this episode and that you had some questions. I'll be glad to help. I'll be glad to point you in the direction. Now, these days, if you don't know already, I haven't been coaching anybody. There are times when I do have some like clubs or some boot camps, some groups where I'll give the tips that I do. I'll even bring in other experts. You can even find some of those on my YouTube channel, Mark Anthony Dyson. Just look it up there. But in the meantime, I do thank you very much for joining me here. Peace in the Valley of Love. I will see you guys later.